Mia wasn't the kind of cat that trusted easily. She'd been found in a drainpipe as a kitten, half her tail missing, barely breathing. Nina was the one who scooped her up with trembling hands and whispered, "You're safe now." That was 3 years ago. Since then, Mia hadn't left Nina's side. So when Nina packed 2 suitcases and zipped them shut, Mia jumped inside one, meowing like she was saying, "Take me too." Nina smiled, but her eyes were wet. "Don't worry, baby. You're coming with me." They were moving to another country. A new job. A new life. But Nina had done everything right. Documents, vet checks, permits. She even paid extra to make sure Mia could fly in the cabin, right under the seat in her carrier. Everything was supposed to go smooth, but airports don't care about promises. At the check-in counter, Nina handed over the papers. The man behind the desk flipped through them fast, like they were nothing. Then he paused. He squinted at a page. His lips pressed together. "There's a problem," he said. Nina's smile faded. "What kind of problem?" "Your cat's microchip. Doesn't match the new regulation number format. We can't approve boarding." Nina froze. "But it's valid." "I followed the list. I called last week. The man shrugged. "Rules changed 2 days ago. She can't fly." Mia's ears twitched from inside the carrier. She could feel the tension. She pressed herself against the mesh, eyes locked on Nina. "Please," Nina begged. "She's not cargo. She's family." "Ma'am, you can fly, but the cat stays." Just like that. Nina looked down. Mia was silent now. Not a sound. Her tiny face peeking out. Confused, tears rolled down Nina's face as she stepped to the side. She called the airline manager, begged for options. Nothing worked. Time was running out. Her gate was already boarding. She knelt in front of Mia. "I'm coming back. I promise," she whispered. "They won't let you fly, but I'll fix it. Just hold on, okay?" Mia nudged the mesh with her nose. She didn't understand, but she could feel something was breaking. A staff member came over and took the carrier. Nina tried to hand over Mia's blanket. "Please, just keep this with her." He waved it away. "We don't allow personal items in holding." Mia's eyes widened as the carrier jerked away from Nina's hand. She let out one sharp meow. Loud. Scared. Like a cry. Nina turned, forced to walk toward her flight. She kept looking back. Again and again. But Mia was gone behind a locked door. Inside the carrier, Mia started to shake. The air was colder now. Different. The smell of Nina's skin was fading. And as the plane roared above her, Mia lay down in the dark corner of her cage, ears flat, heart pounding. She didn't know what she did wrong. She only knew her person was gone. The door slammed. That was the last sound Mia heard before silence swallowed the room. She was no longer in the soft carrier with Nina's scarf. Now she was inside a hard steel cage in a cold, dim back room. The walls echoed with metal clinks and distant footsteps. But no warmth, no scent of home. Mia crouched in the corner, her body trembling. Her ears twitched with every creak and bang. The cage smelled like bleach and fear. There was a bowl of water, stale. No food. Hours passed. Then more. A man in a vest walked by. Mia lifted her head and gave a small, hopeful meow. He didn't even look. Meow. It came out weaker the second time. No answer. That night the lights turned off. No one came. The room was still. Empty. Mia didn't sleep. She just waited. The next morning, someone dropped more water into the bowl. No food. Still no blanket. Still no Nina. Time got weird. There were no windows. Just noise sometimes. And sometimes, nothing. Mia cried the first day. Then she just stopped. Her voice was too tired. Her body began to weaken. She hadn't eaten since the airport. Her ribs pressed against her fur. Her tail barely moved. Day 3, maybe 4. No one really knew. A woman peeked in once, holding a clipboard. She squinted. Checked something, then left. Didn't even speak. Mia stared at the door long after it shut. Maybe Nina was coming. Maybe this was part of the plan. But that hope was fading. Her world had shrunk to steel bars and silence. She would close her eyes and dream of Nina's voice, of warm arms and canned tuna. Then wake up to cold floors and the sound of someone dragging a mop across the hall. The next night, a group of baggage workers laughed outside the door. One said, "There's still that cat back there. Should we tell someone?" Another laughed. "Not our problem. Let the system handle it." Mia didn't understand the words, but she knew their meaning. Forgotten. She tried to stand. Her legs wobbled. She sat back down. Her stomach hurt. Her fur looked dull, her eyes sunken. She looked toward the cage door. It didn't move. She gave one last soft cry. Just one. Then she lowered her head. "Please," she would have said if she had the words. "Please come back." But no one came. Not yet. Mia didn't know if it was day or night anymore. Her body felt too heavy to move. Her eyes stayed half closed. She no longer cried. She just waited. Then, one night, the silence broke. Footsteps, slow, tired ones. Rubber soles against tile. A man's voice mumbled to himself, "They really don't pay me enough for this." He was old, hunched a little, pushing a mop bucket. His uniform was faded, name tag barely hanging on. It read, Ravi. As he passed the cage room, he paused. Something caught his ear. A tiny, scratchy sound. Meow, faint. Barely there, but real. He stepped closer, pushing open the half-cracked door. "Hello?" he called out, his voice low. "Anyone in here?" No answer, just the drip of a leaky pipe. Then he saw her, in the back cage, curled up, barely breathing. Oh no. Ravi dropped his mop. He walked to the bars, crouched low. "Hey, little one. What did they do to you?" Mia didn't move. Ravi looked around. "Where's your tag? Your food? Who's watching you?" There was nothing but an old water bowl. No blanket, no note, just a file taped to the side. He skimmed it. Flight. Not approved. Hold for review. Ravi's hands trembled. "They forgot about you, didn't they?" He opened the cage door just a crack and reached in. Mia flinched. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'm not gonna hurt you." His fingers brushed her fur. She was cold. Bones pressing through. Eyes, dull like glass. Something in his chest tightened. Years ago, during a terrible flood, he'd lost his own cat, Tinku. The shelter made him leave her behind during evacuation. By the time he came back, she was gone. He never forgave himself. Looking at Mia now, it felt like seeing Tinku all over again. He couldn't walk away. The next night, he came back. A small plastic bowl hidden inside his cart, steamed rice, chicken scraps. Mia didn't move at first, but when he placed the food near her, the smell hit her. Her nose twitched. Slowly, so slowly, she inched forward. Her tongue touched the food. Then she ate, shaking, hungry, desperate. Ravi watched, his eyes misty. "Good girl," he whispered. "You're stronger than you look." From then on, every night he came back. Just 5 minutes, just enough food, just enough kindness. He cleaned her cage when no one was around. Gave her a piece of his own old scarf. "You're not alone anymore," he told her once. "Not while I'm here." But helping her meant breaking rules. Big ones. He had to hide the food. Hide his time. If security cameras caught him, he could lose his job. One night, a manager came down early. Ravi had just finished feeding Mia. "Ravi," the man barked. "Why are you in the cargo hold this late?" Ravi stiffened. "Just mopping." The manager squinted. "You're not assigned here." Ravi forced a smile. "Thought I'd help out. Got bored upstairs." The man grunted and left. Ravi exhaled slowly. That was close. Back inside the room, Mia looked up at him. Just for a second, a flicker of light in her eyes. He smiled. "Don't worry. I'm not stopping." But deep down, he knew this wasn't a real solution. She needed more than scraps. She needed someone to fight for her. And he was just a janitor. Or was he? That night he went home, sat at his kitchen table, and opened his old phone. He'd never posted a video in his life, but he pressed record. In the dark, quiet airport, he filmed her, lying in the cage, fragile, forgotten. Then he uploaded it. No name, no caption, just 3 words in the title, Left Behind Cat. He hit post and waited. The video barely lasted 30 seconds, but it shook the world. A small, weak cat, pressed against the bars of a steel cage, eyes half closed. No sound. No movement. Just a caption that read, Left Behind Cat. Within hours, comments flooded in. Why is she locked up? Where's her owner? Someone help her. The video reached millions, and one of those people was Nina. She was sitting in her tiny apartment overseas, scrolling through her phone, still feeling the weight of guilt she carried every day. She hadn't slept right since leaving Mia behind. The embassy gave her no answers. The airline ignored her emails. Then she saw it, the video. Her heart stopped. That's her, she whispered. That's Mia. She watched it again. And again. I'm coming, she said, already grabbing her coat. I'm not leaving you again. Nina took the first flight back. She didn't care about work, didn't care about rules. Her only thought was Mia. When she arrived at the airport, she ran straight to the desk. My cat. She was left here. I need to see her. The staff looked confused. You'll need to file a request. Do you have a claim number? She's not a suitcase, Nina snapped. She's family. Security told her to calm down. She didn't. She called the airline's main office, then the director, then the airport manager. Finally, after hours of shouting and paperwork, someone took her to a cold office with beige walls and tired faces. One man cleared his throat. We're aware of the video, but the cat has now been classified as unclaimed property. Legally, she belongs to the airline. Nina stared at him. You locked her up like trash. Let her starve. And now you want to keep her? It's protocol, he said. She crossed the holding limit. There's a process. You had no process when you refused her boarding. Nina shot back. They told her to file a petition. She did. They told her to wait. She didn't. For 2 days, she camped outside the airport offices. She held up signs. She printed pictures of Mia and showed every passing traveler. A few reporters noticed. Then a local news team came. Within 24 hours, it was back, online. Owner returns for left behind cat. That's when the airline called her in. A hearing. Small room. 6 chairs. 1 long table. Nina sat across from 3 suits. One woman shuffled papers. The cat is under our custody now, she said. You violated policy when you left her. Nina clenched her fists. I didn't leave her. You forced me to. The woman kept her voice cold. Even so, we followed regulations. If this becomes legal, it's out of our hands. Nina looked down, then slowly stood up. Her hands trembled. She looked each person in the eye, then said 6 words. She waited. Why didn't you? The room went silent. One of the younger board members looked away. Another tapped his pen but said nothing. And the last one sighed. A deep, heavy sigh. We'll review the case again, he muttered. Wait outside. Nina left the room and leaned against the wall, her heart pounding. Minutes felt like hours. Then the door opened. You can take her, they said. But this doesn't set a precedent. Nina didn't hear the rest. She was already running. Down. The hall. Past security. Back to the same door where they took Mia from her days ago. Ravi stood waiting. He'd been listening the whole time. She's been waiting, he whispered. She never gave up. The moment Mia saw her ears perked. Her head lifted. A shaky meow slipped out. Nina dropped to her knees. I'm here. I came back. Mia leaned into her arms, eyes closing, body pressing close. This time she wasn't going in a cage. She was going home. Mia didn't move from Nina's lap. The moment they stepped out of the airport office, reporters surrounded them. Flashing lights, microphones. But Nina didn't care. She held Mia tight, wrapping her in the old scarf Ravi had left in the cage. Voice called out. How does it feel to finally have her back? Nina kissed the top of Mia's head. Like breathing again. The airline, under pressure from the media storm and public outrage, had no choice but to give in. They released a statement, something about reviewing policies. But no one was listening to that. All anyone cared about was the cat who waited. Nina didn't waste time. She booked the first available flight, but this time she didn't just buy a ticket. She made sure Mia flew right next to her, in her arms. As they waited at the new gate, Ravi appeared, holding something in his hands. He knelt next to them. "You forgot this," he said, handing over a small folded note and a picture. It was a photo of Tinku, his old cat, the one he'd lost. "She would have been proud," Ravi whispered. Nina hugged him. "You saved her life. Thank you." Mia stretched weakly in her lap, then looked up at Ravi and gave a soft meow. Ravi smiled. "Looks like she remembers me too." They called the flight. This time, no one stopped them at the gate. No one questioned the papers. No one told her she couldn't bring Mia. The airline staff stepped aside. Nina walked down the jet bridge slowly, holding the carrier close, talking softly. "We're going home, baby. No more cages, no more cold rooms." Once they settled in, their seats, Nina opened the top of the carrier and let Mia rest on her lap. The engines hummed beneath them. People settled into their seats. The flight attendants walked by. One of them paused. "Is that the cat from the video?" she asked. Nina nodded. "She's beautiful," the woman whispered. "I'm glad she made it." As the plane took off, Mia curled up, her paws tucked in, her breathing steady for the first time in weeks. Then she purred. It started quiet, just a soft rumble, but Nina felt it. Tears filled her eyes. "You're okay," she whispered. "You're really okay." Hours passed in peace. No barking dogs, no metal bars, no fear, just the rhythm of flight, a heartbeat against a palm, and the warmth of home returning. When they landed, the sun had started to rise. Nina walked out of the plane with Mia in her arms. A small crowd had gathered. Some clapped, some cried, someone handed Nina flowers. But she only cared about the soft weight against her chest. Mia blinked slowly. She looked around. Not scared, just curious. For the first time in a long time, her eyes had light again. As they stepped outside the airport, Nina whispered, "Welcome home." Mia purred again. This time, not out of relief, but out of love. Not every cat gets rescued. Not every mistake gets fixed. But Mia's story was proof. Sometimes love doesn't give up. Sometimes it comes back, even when it's told to walk away. And sometimes a tiny half-tailed cat can teach the whole world what it means to hold on.